Hello and welcome to the Team VVV Racing Game Podcast. I'm Martin Bigg, and joining me is Kevin Dooley,
Hi guys.
and of course Alan Boyston.
Hello, viewers.
Hello. So there's a little-known event, guys, next week called E3. May have heard of it. What are we looking forward to most, Kevin?
Well, I guess the Forza, which we imagine is Forza Horizon 3 reveal.
Yeah.
Microsoft have publicly announced a new Forza title because they alternate between the Forza Motorsport and Forza Horizon titles. We can only imagine it's Forza Horizon 3, and of course it's rumoured to be take place in Australia.
Exactly. Yeah. It's
Very pretty scenery on offer.
pretty much all but confirmed, to be honest. We had a possible leaked video a few months ago, I seem to remember.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It sort of ties in, doesn't it, with Australia, the sort of scenery that we saw.
I do quite like the idea of that setting. It's something different.
Yeah, I mean, they went with like Europe before and stuff, so yeah, I mean, it makes sense. And we'll be driving on the left side of the road, I believe, as well, so that'd be good.
It'll be a nice new. There's a lot of different environments they can put in there.
Yeah.
Very expansive environments, and I think it'll make a nice change from the second one. I think the same. I think it's of the driving games that we're looking forward to at E3 because we know about so many right now. I mean, we've seen Gran Turismo Sport, and yes, Gran Turismo Sport will be showing the VR, and maybe the VR is going to be amazing and blow us all away. And then besides that, you've always got Ubisoft who might surprise us with something.
We reckon they might be announcing some sort of new expansion for the crew.
Right, yeah, I think that's highly likely. I think last year's expansion was surprisingly good. It was a big step up. It was kind of a shame it wasn't in the original game like that because it would have done much better.
Yeah, it kind of came out of nowhere as well in E3 last year. I mean, the game had been out for about a year at that point, so we all thought they were pretty much done with it then. But then,
absolutely, yeah.
all of a sudden,
The size of it was surprising, and the graphical update was, really, a really good thing to do because it was released for free. So that was excellent.
Well, to me, it absolutely transformed the game. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't play that much with the crew when it first came out. I was a bit disappointed in some ways, and then with the graphical update, it was like playing a different game.
Yeah, I mean, with the crew, I didn't really care so much for the missions, but just going for a drive, setting a waypoint, and away you go. And with the new graphical update, yeah, certainly, it almost feels like real driving at times.
Yeah, and the physics
when you're in a certain location and the sun's catching you at certain angles, the game does look stunning.
It's a game I've not really had the chance to play enough, really. I mean, I played it at Christmas. I played the new modes, but since then I've not really had the time. I don't really know why. I just didn't have the chance to get back into it. That's the thing.
It's a game, I think, that benefits of long play sessions,
Yeah, it's definitely a time sucker in that way. So what have we got then? We've got Criterion, maybe their game from EA.
Beyond Cars.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been completely solid now.
Last E3, didn't they? And
no, I think it was the one before that. It was about 2 years ago.
Was it 20? Yeah. Oh, okay.
There you go. Yeah.
They showed. They mentioned that the game would have speedboats, wingsuits, quad bikes, buggies, even helicopters, all from the first-person sort of perspective. So I imagine that would be a VR-compatible title right there. And it looks interesting. Looking forward to that.
I think a few months ago they confirmed it is still in development. Obviously, there's been so much silence that I think people are worried it was
it's going to be scrapped. Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm a massive Burnout fanboy, so I'm quite looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's got some massive potential, if they can bring it together. But it's one of those sort of great unknowns. I mean, it may not even be shown. I mean, it's quite strange that it wasn't talked about last year, and it's not been mentioned since. And EA, I don't know what their exact plans are. Doing something different for E3. They're not doing E3 like they normally do this year. It's going to be a couple of smaller shows in support. So, what have we got then? We've got so from Microsoft, we're going to have Forza Horizon. From EA, perhaps Criterion Racer. From Sony, Gran Turismo Sport will be the big game, and then maybe
there's a better trailer this time.
Ubisoft. Yeah, I mean,
trailer.
I mean, certainly it wouldn't be difficult. I mean, the last trailer, like we said last week, looks like it was knocked together in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna interrupt talking about trailers knocked together in 5 minutes. We've got the new Ride trailer today. Let's just have a quick talk about that for a minute. So, Ride 2 has been shown. Now, the first trailer, that isn't actually the first trailer. Trailer came out a couple of weeks ago, and it was literally just the logo, so there wasn't even any point in uploading it. Right, do you know what? I liked Ride. Okay,
I did.
It had its problems as ever, but I genuinely really enjoyed going around on my Yamaha, and at 60 frames on the PC, it was a good, fun game, and it's just a shame it didn't run that well on the. I keep saying this on every milestone game recently, but it's just a shame it didn't run at 60 frames, and it was also a bit of a shame that it had quite a few bugs in at launch.
Yeah.
And that they didn't really communicate with the players what was going on or when to expect improvements and stuff like that. So this game, anyway, I don't know anything about it, Kevin. How's it sounding? Is there any news in the press release with it?
So basically, there was 200 cars for one. They're going to have a career mode as well, just like before. Sorry, motorcycles. 220 motorcycles.
How many did the first game have?
I think it had 100, about 110, something like that. It was quite a large number.
Quite a big jump.
It is a big jump, yeah. And so the bikes range from the 50s right up to sort of modern day sort of stuff. I imagine the bulk of the bikes will be more modern, just like in Ride. But so far we know there's going to be new bike types available. So we've got the 2-strokes, the super motards, and the cafe racers, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, very few details released so far. I mean, the trailer itself, it wasn't gameplay footage.
That's all pre-rendered.
Yeah, so
it starts off okay. You've got that nice view of mountains and stuff like that, and then suddenly you've got very, very awkward-looking, poorly animated riders on bikes. And I look at that sometimes, and I think, it's the bikes look good, everything looks good, but it's just not quite animating. There's a certain style that's not there, and style that's a thing that it really needs a bit more of. Otherwise you get that kind of clinical hardness to the visuals, and lack a little bit of atmosphere. So, I mean, one of the tracks there looks a bit like what's it called now? It's in Race Room. Done a lap of it. Oh, I'm going to have a look. I'll come back on that. You guys continue.
Yeah, so Ride 2, it's
Nürburgring's in the Ride 2 as well. That's one of the
yes, that's one thing I forgot to mention.
Yeah.
That to me is the biggest surprise actually, and that's the thing I'm looking most forward to. I mean, putting the Nürburgring is a massive undertaking, so it'd be interesting to see if it features in future games. Both 2 wheels and 4 wheels. So
it's
I love
almost
the
like
Nürburgring. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. I think Alan's not too hot on the Nürburgring, but for me, it's my favourite track by far.
To me, it's almost like a substitute for not having the Isle of Man TT.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be good racing the bikes on the Nürburgring.
And I found that circuit. It's called Macau. It looks a bit like Macau.
I wasn't 100% sure. It's,
yeah, it did look like that in the trailer, and
it was very bare bones, wasn't it?
It was, but I mean, at the end of the day, believe it or not, I'm quite positive about it. I think if they can, put it together, let's wait and see what the game's like. But decent selection of bikes, decent selection of tracks. 30 frames per second on PS4, you can bet on that. If you've got a PC, you'll be able to run it smoother and nicer, in which case it will look a lot better. And if they follow the handling model, which I quite liked in Ride, I thought it was much better than some of the MotoGPs in a way. MotoGP bikes just seem to understeer and they can't save their life.
It had a nice sort of flow to it, didn't it? You can get into a nice sort of rhythm, and it was enjoyable.
Yeah, so I think as a bike games go, there's nothing else on the market right now. I mean, there was rumours meant to be that bikes were going to be in the new Gran Turismo game, and there was, good, strong rumours on that, but, that's all gone now. So, with Gran Turismo Sport, doesn't look like that's going to happen. So,
well, speaking of bike games, we've also got, neatly going back to E3 as well, we've also got Moto Racer 4, which I'm quite looking forward to.
Yeah, I haven't a clue what it's going to be like.
No.
I've seen nothing on it yet, but I haven't a clue what it's going to be like. So it'll be interesting. It certainly has a big following.
Yeah.
A lot of people keenly anticipating it, and obviously it'll be shown at E3. So
I think it's a good gap in the market there, because we're almost getting saturated now with bike simulation games. But I think as Drive Club Bikes prove, there's definitely a place for high-speed arcade bike racing games.
Yeah, I mean, Motor Racer is probably, it's going to be very, very arcade-like. So, that could be awesome.
I think that could be one to watch.
Serious stuff, which is always nice,
Anything else in E3? Got WRC6. That's confirmed.
Yeah. Well, WRC6 this year, I mean, there has been a bit of footage leaked about here and there, and it looks better than last year. I mean, they've gone for much more narrow stages now. It's going to be more realistic. It's going to place itself somewhere between Seb Loeb and Dirt Rally, maybe. But we'll just have to wait and see. The last game was fun enough. I mean, it got a hard time from people, and the developers were, they had 1 year to make a game. That was it, and so that's what they did. And I think if they can keep on improving it at a rapid rate, then perhaps maybe not this year, maybe next year they'll be be able to compete with the market leaders. But Dirt Rally's put a marker in the ground now. We know what to expect from rally games. They all know what they've got to achieve. But obviously with the WR6 brand behind them, it's going to sell to those fans anyway. They just need to make it a solid rally experience. In that sense, it'll be interesting to see what they come up with.
Yeah, it's the same story as well, I think, for F1 2016, which is also going to... I'm not sure... Is it going to be at E3?
I believe so,
I've read somewhere it is, yeah. That is...
Yeah, it's going to be at E3. There's been a closed beta recently as well. Some people, I don't know if it's already happened yet, or I have no idea.
I think
no idea.
Lineups lasted all of like 2 or 3 days, so yeah, they could easily have knocked that out by now.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. I mean, I liked 2015. I hated the fact that they took away the career mode, of course, which is the game for me. Without that, it's not really a game.
Yeah. Like we said last week, this is going to be the game it should have been.
Yeah, I come on board at the 2010 game, which is one of my most played games in the last gen.
Oh wow!
I really loved that game, and it makes you sort of feel like a racing driver. And I'd like to have seen that progress of each iteration.
Yeah.
It didn't seem to really develop that area of the game, making you feel like a driver, so I was a little bit disappointed the way it sort of panned out, but I think they might be getting back to form with 2016. Just have to wait and see.
It's also taking all the feedback on board, which from the sessions that we've read about, that does seem to be the case.
Yeah, much like WRC6, they seem to be listening to the community, and that can only be a good thing. That can only develop the title.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see what they do this year. I mean, as I say, 2010. I mean, we actually got a world exclusive on that at the time. Not intentional. It was just the fact that we all got the game, and not as many people back then made YouTube videos, so we got away with it. But I mean, I've enjoyed the different iterations. All right, the physics may have not been the most detailed, but I enjoyed F1 2013 quite a lot as well, and I enjoyed
that was the pinnacle of the series, I think, to be honest, in the Codemasters era.
Yeah, for me, yeah. I mean, that's one I got the most enjoyment out of. Really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it had the classic content as well, didn't it?
Yeah, and I love the classic content.
Yeah,
it just wasn't enough there. But I really like those old cars and the different noise they make and everything.
Yeah, it's a real shame they haven't been able to continue that after that game.
Yeah, it's lots of sort of licensing red tape, unfortunately, with that. So.
Who knows? It's you know what, that's what people say, but you just never really know the reasons behind it. But perhaps people weren't that keen, or you just never know.
You could always just go back and play F1 97.
Well, exactly, but we could do with an old game. But we don't really know how popular the older cars are in, say, Project Cars and stuff like that. But no, let's wait and see. It'd be good to see how it runs. And there's some interesting options. There was meant to be like a time of day option in it now.
Yeah.
Where you can choose to race different tracks, different times of day, and stuff like that. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Going back to E3, do you think we'll see anything on the new Need for Speed 2017?
Doubt it. If it's next year anyway. I mean, traditionally, I think they're normally announced at E3 and they're released the same year, but who knows?
I'd say not yet. I'd say not yet. I'd say that, given the fact that Need for Speed last year was so lacking in terms of, no manual gears, no cockpit cam, dead city environment, dump
style over substance.
It was, there was nothing to do. You got bored after you whipped through the game in no time, and then there's just nothing to do there.
And the cutscenes.
And I think the actual handling model, though it's great and it's approachable, it's also, once you really get used to the game, it's just really easy, and that's great for a lot of people.
Exactly, there's no depth to it.
No, exactly. So I think in terms, they're having to have a real rethink now in terms of adding things like time of day, maybe. Whatever, and just generally a living, breathing environment that's about the culture of cars, and they really need to think more about what car culture is, owners clubs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think there's there's a huge market for Need for Speed. It's got a huge following. So yeah, next year we'll wait and see. I mean, who knows? Maybe even something might get mentioned at Gamescom. You never know. But we'll wait and see on that one. But I wouldn't hold my breath this year.
I don't think it's likely.
No. So what else, Martin?
E3? I don't think anything else, is there?
For me, well, no, it's pretty low. I mean, normally there's like 20 different games we're looking forward to, but this time really it's going to be that and sort of VR experiences and seeing
and of course, all the rumored console upgrades as well.
Well, exactly. I mean, we've got the Neo, perhaps new Xbox is meant to be more powerful than the Neo. That's what Microsoft need to do. They need to. I mean, the Xbox One was a terrible piece of hardware, and I've said this many times, and they need to bin it and create something new, and hopefully that's what they're doing. They've realised, we've made a bit of a turd of a system. Let's get a new one sorted, because as a big fan of the Xbox 360, the Xbox One is just a mess at the moment. So they know what they need to do there. The Neo is just building on the PS4 community. They want that massive PS4 market to last as long as it can. And if that takes them to 2020 or 2021, then they've had a good run out of it. New technology is coming into the PC world 2019, 2020, around that time. So that's the next leap on from the Pascal technology that we're just having now in NVIDIA. And then, like you say, that there'll need to be an upgrade when that time comes. But right now, it's all about VR. I think it'll be interesting,
especially with VR on the horizon. The hardware needs to be capable of running it.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? I mean, will VR run on the PlayStation 4, the standard PS4? That's the fear. Are they bringing out a Neo especially for the VR because it doesn't? Maybe the standard one doesn't handle it very well.
I can't imagine how Project Cars will run, for example, on PS4, because it's quite hard to optimize. I've heard in VR at the moment on the PC.
Well, there's all kinds of rumours that Project Cars may not work on VR at all on the PS4 now. And I think that where the Neo is concerned, it's going to be interesting. Sony don't want to polarise their market between two consoles. They're going to say if a game works on VR on the standard PS4, it's got to work on Neo and vice versa. So perhaps they will say, some perhaps second gen VR headset only works on the Neo in a couple of years' time, and that has 2K screens. It's early days. A lot of people haven't even tried VR yet. When they do, they'll realise how amazing it is, and I think it'll be interesting. But E3 this year, I think the hardware announcements are the big deal. I mean, you'll be able to look forward to a couple of years' time, and you'll see Forza Motorsport 7 VR, on the new Xbox. Because right now, let's face it, if Forza Motorsport 6 couldn't do dynamic weather, or they're having trouble somewhere in terms of frame rate, there's no way it's going to do VR. So I think to maintain fidelity and to move forward with the brand, Turn 10 will be saying, please give us a system with a bit more power. And in that sense, it could work well for Microsoft and for the developers. So I think it's going to be an exciting week next week. I think for announcements across the board, but information for us is really thin on the ground, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. Right, so we might as well do some news.
Yeah.
So we've got two quite big releases. Well, we've got two main releases in the next couple of weeks. Obviously, literally today saw the release of Ducati 90th anniversary from Milestone.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it? I've not played it. I've not seen it.
No.
Classically, obviously, we're always trying to find out from Milestone, all the other games companies, what their new games are. It's always up to them to tell us about the games or show us the games. And if they don't show us the games, then obviously we're not able to make any videos or cover them.
It's been a very stealthy release, this one.
It's very strange. We've got Valentino Rossi the game out next week. So where's that coming from?
A bit silly releasing either side of E3, so close to E3, these two titles.
I think it's inadvisable, personally. I would say actually I would have released it 2 or 3 weeks later, because July's a dead month. Great time to launch a game.
I have to say, Milestone rarely seem to get their releases right. I mean, if Sebastian Loeb coming out so close to Dirt Rally. I think last year MotoGP came out pretty much a week after F1, and so on and so on. They always seem to clash with other racing titles.
Don't they? Yeah, and you just wish that they wouldn't, because you're sort of rooting for the underdog in a way, and it's just like you say, it's a shame that they can't seem to.
Yeah, it's every single time it's milestone. Why did you do that?
Yeah. I mean, it's weird, isn't it? I remember saying, must have been a few months ago now, to the PR guy we deal with. I said, when's it coming out? And they told me the date, and I said that it's in the middle of E3, and well, and it just sort of happens that way. It's happened a few times. It happened in 2013, was the same. They released it right slap bang in the middle of E3, and we're uploading like 5-6 videos a day on the channel, so it just kind of gets lost in the everything. Actually, the videos did do really well for it, so they're actually all banned now. Sadly, Dawn are banned like millions of views, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it was good fun at the time, whacking it all out there, and like next week. Who knows? It might be a quieter E3 for us in terms of racing, but at least we'll have lots of Valentino Rossi action from Kevin to keep us going. Kevin, you've been enjoying it so far. Of the new disciplines, what one sort of stood out to you?
I guess the rally special stages, very technical, very sort of tight turns. You've got slaloms that are sort of on banks and stuff, so you've got the the gravity working against you. I'm probably least impressed with the drift stuff so far, although I've only just sort of...
Same here.
Yeah, I mean, I've only just sort of played the game for a little while, each discipline, so I basically only played what I've put on the video so far. I've got another video coming up shortly as well, so I've got to just be going around all the different disciplines in more detail, and then I can make a sort of more of a judgment. But the flat track is interesting because it's pretty similar to MXGP2, in that you sort of you don't have to brake very much to get around the corners. You're sort of drifting through. The handling feels very sort of MXGP-like, but there is some sort of fundamental differences in the way you're sort of drifting around. But it was okay. I mean, there's a number of tracks I've got to try out, but early impressions, I'd say probably the rally special stages would be my favourite. It's just a shame though that my wheel doesn't actually work on the car segments.
Yeah, that's really disappointing, isn't it? Yeah, I was disappointed to hear that because
I wanted to feel the evolution of the Sebastian Loeb handling. And see what they change, but unfortunately, I won't be able to really do that with a controller.
No, it's an interesting omission. I mean, obviously, I've just had a quick go on the game myself today, and I haven't played all the different bits and pieces. I just did some flat track, but the first thing I noticed is that when you turn it on, it's like, please create a rider, please go through this, please go. And there's a part of me, exactly, and there's a part of me that says, let's go to a main menu, and I want to do a quick race. I don't want to create a rider. I just want a quick race.
It channels you into the career mode, doesn't it?
Yeah, straight away.
And you have to back out of that to get to the main menu where you can select what sort of stuff you want to play. We saw that in Ride as well, I think. So it's one of these sort of modern things with Milestone.
I wish that they would just put that into, like if you go career mode, then you can choose your helmet, your overalls, and God knows what else. But if you don't, if you just want to play a game, I think there should just be a main menu. But I kind of got locked in the career menu. I didn't know how to get out of it, and just thought, what's the first thing I do? Oh, it's flat track. Okay. So I just sort of went in from there. But it has been improved quite a bit from the demo I played a few weeks ago. Visually improved a lot in the way the dust was on the bike and stuff like that, and it's a bit more solid. And the frame rate seems better as well. So it wasn't running too bad compared to some games. But saying that, I was using a TV that has motion flow. That's one thing with judging frame rates. It depends a lot on the TV you're using.
You're not turning it off.
I can. It's not my TV, so. But no, maybe. But either way, I always leave things like that on because anything that improves perception of frame rate is good. That's all I have to say. But no, I look forward to seeing some of the videos, and it was an interesting surprise to see the drift mode in there because I had no idea.
I had a quick go myself last night as well. It's like an interesting mashup almost of MotoGP, MXGP, and Sebastian Loeb.
Yeah,
my main feeling. So just having a go on some of the different disciplines.
yeah, and like I said in the video, it's up to you if you want to play the different disciplines or just stick to the MotoGP stuff. So
There's a good spread of content in there for a MotoGP game.
And I like that. I like they've done that. I think personally, I think it's a good idea, and I think it's nice to just break it up a bit. Yes, a lot of people like MotoGP, but when they have friends around, they've got other little disciplines in there to have fun on, and yeah, I think that's a good introduction to some of the other titles as well, essentially.
I mean, the MotoGP games, I think it's fair to say, were becoming a little bit stale over time, so it's quite a good direction to take, I think, to try and shake things up.
I think. I mean, are they making a rod for their own back? Because future titles, people are going to expect a wealth of content. We had Sebastian Loeb, tons of content. Valentino Rossi, there seems to be tons of content.
Yeah, they are making a lot of work for themselves, especially with the amount of games they're churning out this year.
It's unbelievable how they've managed it. I mean,
credit where it's due.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, Sebastian Loeb had vast amounts of road that was mapped, and in terms of a platform to build on, they have a fantastic platform.
Yeah, I'm very much.
One thing they sort out, please, let's hope they get onto the audio. That's exactly what I was going to say. Audio. Okay, I just want them to get on top of it because, again, Dirt Rally has, for me, amazing audio. One of my top 2 games for audio. And I think that, if they can get on top of that, get a new sound designer that can help them. I mean, they've got a team of 3 guys. I don't know what's involved in making the best audio in a game. I don't know why some games companies can do it and some can't so much. But I know it's really, really important to the overall atmosphere, and you've got to invest in it. So I think that's
the trick is with audio is to apply sort of distortion, which is what Forza Motorsport do, whereas GT Sport go for a very clean, clinical sound, and you need to produce that distortion.
That's right. There is that. I mean, you've got the. But it's not just that. It's like creaky dashboards and bits and pieces shaking, stones hitting the car. It's a real. Dirt really gets the old atmosphere that you're inside this tin can driving along the road, and that's where it gets it right. But in terms of pure engine sound, absolutely, Kevin. I've said it before many times. It's just too pure, the sound, and they need to distort it more.
In that sense, I was a bit disappointed with the driving sections in the car driving sections in Valentino Rossi because the sound is the same, the physics are. I couldn't tell much. I think it might be a slightly more forgiving version of Sebastian though, because of all the obstacles you have to maneuver around, perhaps.
Yeah, I need to spend more time to make judgment on that. I think the drifting was fairly straightforward, actually. So, I mean, considering we're driving a big American muscle car and you're sort of drifting it around on the rear wheels, I just feel quite forgiving. So, yeah, you're probably right there, actually.
The other problem, it still suffers from the same problem with Sebastian Loeb in that on the exterior camera and the replays, the physics just look completely wrong. The cars look far too stiff. I mean, they just look like they're just like boxes on wheels almost. It's really strange.
Yeah, it's the same complaint, wasn't it, as Sebastian Loeb? I mean, those replays did not do the physics justice. And you'd watch the replay and say physics terrible, and then you play the game and you think it feels like a different game when you're actually playing.
I know.
It's they just haven't got that right. But let's hope by making a podcast like this that you hear what we're saying, and as I say, I mean, I look forward to seeing your videos on it, Kevin. I won't have the chance to play it over the next few days. I am going to play some Doom. I'm still playing Doom. What can I say? Now, Doom is a game with amazing graphics.
Here he goes again about
Doom. I tell you what has amazing audio is Star Wars Battlefront. Star Wars Battlefront probably has some of the best audio ever. Love the audio in that game, and I listen to it and think that sound effects straight out of the movies, different things that happened.
I'm going to say it's as it is from the film.
And they do it absolutely right. And I listen to that, and then I go back to some driving game or something, and I just think, I just think, why does our genre just linger years behind?
Yeah.
So
that's just DICE for you. All their games have exemplary audio. I mean, look at Battlefield. I think they've won awards for that in the past for their sound design.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing what they do. So
DICE were the guys responsible for Dead Space, weren't they?
No, that was Visceral.
Oh, was it? Ah. Okay.
But I think Visceral did Battlefield Hardline.
Ah, okay.
Which is like a spin-off game which everyone's forgotten about now.
And on that note, we would like more Dead Space.
Oh, I love Dead
Yes.
Space. Yeah,
Yeah,
Dead Space
I mean,
4 could be appearing, so who knows?
Imagine if that came up in E3. You
mm,
heard it here first.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. No, I would like some more Dead Space. I think that would be nice. And as I say, I don't know what's going on with Battlefront. They're talking about they might be showing the new DLC for Battlefront probably as well. So I think that
Because they've
was
already announced a
shame.
sequel for it as well, predictably.
I know. I kind of wish they hadn't in a way because they're
Mm,
launching DLC now. They've got more in the autumn. They've got the Death Star coming in the autumn, which will just be amazing. And then they've got another DLC planned for spring next year. So, I mean, they're asking people to keep on spending a lot of money. I can't
mm.
remember what the season pass was now, but it was 60 pound plus, something like that. It's pretty expensive.
It was
So,
about, yeah, it's like more than the main game.
game,
Especially
yeah.
now. You can get the
So,
game for about 20 quid now.
yeah, I mean, I mean,
It's
I've
about what
not
it's
got.
worth, to be honest.
I've not bought the DLC. I mean, maybe I will at
I
some
haven't
point,
touched it.
but it's too expensive. I'm waiting for a discount because they always give you a discount like 3 months later.
I was going to say, if it's anything like
So
Battlefield, you'll get it for free at some point.
yeah, exactly. So I just thought, you know what? They have actually released some new maps for the standard stuff, and so I'm just happy with those when I play it.
Mm,
But no, driving wise, what am I going to be playing? I suppose bits and pieces of stuff now. I've got Trackmania I just want to get back onto. I mentioned that before. Bit of Valentino. Assetto Corsa I want to get on the PC, but I haven't been able to get it working for some time. I don't know why. I've just got some kind
dying to
of
play that on
problem.
console.
Uninstalled it, reinstalled it, uninstalled it, reinstalled it. It just isn't working when I load a track. So as soon as I get Assetto Corsa working, I've actually got an Assetto Corsa video, which will be coming up on the channel. And so next week I'll probably just be working all hours to get all the trailers and news from E3, getting that up on the channel as well. While
Yeah.
Kevin, you work on the Valentino Rossi stuff. And then after that, I think it's going to be quite a bleak period then. I think right through till Assetto Corsa on PS4 and Xbox One, isn't it? It's pretty quiet then. What are we looking forward to in the summer? Do we even know if there's anything coming out?
Well, we've got the Rocket League Collector's Edition, which is the physical edition on Xbox One, PS4, and PC. Carmageddon Max Damage, of course, is coming out.
Oh, of course, yeah.
We have MX versus ATV Supercross Encore on the Xbox One, which was already released on the PS4 earlier. I think it was February.
It's basically 2 re-releases.
Yeah, very strange that. And we've got Party Racer Obliterators coming out in the middle of July.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a few titles there. I mean, after July, I think it gets pretty quiet.
I'm kind of looking forward to Carmageddon simply because I had what's it called, Reincarnation on PC, but it was so woefully unoptimized that it couldn't run.
Desperate to play a modern Carmageddon game and
I love a destructive arcade racer. I mean, I said earlier I love Burnout, so I love an arcade destructive racer. So I'm looking forward to it from that point of view. But I played at EGX recently. I think it still has a bit of work left to do on optimizing it. But it could be a fun racer. It just doesn't take itself too seriously,
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look amazing, but
no, it's not about that, though, is it?
I mean, it's all about the gameplay, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not going to have the same shock value it had back in 97.
I still find it quite shocking when they're running over nuns and people in wheelchairs and stuff like that, and you just see all the blood go everywhere. Pretty shocking as it is.
They get properly decapitated, don't they?
Yeah, all the arms and legs.
Don't hold that. But,
no. I mean, that's why, in a way, it still has crap graphics, is because they can't make it look too realistic. So keep a very sort of corny approach to it, other than not serious, good fun. Exactly. Smacking people, 1,000 meters into the air for a laugh because they're there. It's one of those games where you've just got to pop your brain out, get away from serious racing.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
Drive and have fun.
I always think, why are there pedestrians yet there's no traffic? But like you said, thinking too much.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do
that. That's the answer.
I mean, it makes me think of a lot that takes me to sort of indie games in a way, and there are sort of lots of interesting indie games out there. I'm going to cover VR karts. I know it's just a kiddie thing, but it's on the HTC Vive, so I'll have a video on that. at some point. This Liam Doran interview, one of these days I'll get around to editing that. That probably will be in July when it's nice and quiet. I'll get back on that. That was done for the launch of Dirt Rally, but again, just wasn't the time.
I've got an interview with Paul Coleman I've been working on. That's also going to come soon. That was for the launch of Dirt Rally.
Yeah. There's just so much content.
It's a good one, though, I have to say. Well, do watch out for that one.
That's one game I'm looking forward to, RedOut. Now, if you haven't seen it, it's like it's a very Wipeout futuristic game, but I just like the trailer for it. I thought it was really cool. So
I like the look of the track design on that one. It's almost like a roller coaster. I think it's very fun to guess out
on that one actually. So it's be interesting to see how it develops. But
it's been a long time coming.
I will say to listeners on the podcast, do check out the indie game section on the site, and you'll see loads of different indie games now.
Yes.
Talking of which, there was rumours that the beta for the Kart Racing Pro has been delayed or something like that.
That's right. Yeah.
Bouncing around. I don't think we've got it up yet, but. So that Kart Racing Pro, it's been going on for like 5 years now. This game, waiting for it to be released.
Well, I get confused with kart racing games. There's two main ones, isn't there, on PC that are coming out?
KartKraft,
That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Didn't they change the name of that?
No, KartKraft is what I'm getting mixed up with. KartKraft. KartKraft is the one that's been around.
Same as me, then, yeah.
Yeah.
Kart Racing Pro, the beta was supposed to come out on the 30th of...
That's it. KartKraft. They were showing it at Gamescom.
Actually.
Did they change the name of KartKraft? I can't remember.
Yeah, was it Kart Sim before?
Oh right, so the original Kart Sim, and now it's KartKraft.
Oh, it's confusing now.
You know what? It was actually at Gamescom last year. They had a massive stand for it. I don't know who paid for it. I mean, it was clearly quite expensive, thousands of pounds to build the stand.
Oh, they had the kart rig, didn't they?
That's right. Yeah, the VR setup for it.
Fun.
People loved it apparently, but it's one of those that's just sort of.
When was the last good dedicated kart racing game? Simulation, that is, not like Mario Kart or something like that.
There's never been a good one. There's been lots of kart fun things out there. You know, even Project Cars has karts.
I'm going to say Project Cars and Gran Turismo are the main.
Nothing does karts right. You know, actually no. I'll tell you the best example I think was R Factor 2. R Factor 2 had a good, fun kart thing, but for some reason I just couldn't get to grips with it. I'm much better in real life than I was in the playing R Factor 2, so it didn't feel right to me, put it that way. But nothing has felt right for me in karts.
No.
I mean, let's wait and see. I mean, these dedicated sims, they've got to get it right, surely. And I think karting is a difficult thing to get right, but it really means you need a good physics model, you know, to
there's some more news for you, actually. Going back to Valentino Rossi, did you know there's actually a collector's edition for it?
No.
News to me.
There is a collector's edition. Do you want to guess how much it is?
£80?
$49.99.
No. £100.
Wow.
Yeah, £100.
Amazing. I mean, you've got to be well, you know what? It's for the Valentino Rossi fan.
It's for hardcore fans, isn't it? But
that is a proper fan thing.
I'll tell you what was disappointing about it. I mean,
£100, though. I mean, my goodness.
I'll tell you what was disappointing. I mean, most collector's editions for that sum of money usually come with, like a really nice collectible detail statue, things like that.
Yeah.
No statue in this one.
Really?
Why couldn't they done like a replica of Valentino on his Yamaha or something, you know?
Yeah, like a die-cast model or something.
Yeah. I mean, you get, I think, let's see what you get. You get a steel book, obviously, like with most collector's things. What else do you get? Oh, you get a wristband.
Oh, wow.
You get a wristband? Must be a very high-quality one.
Yeah.
You also get a flag.
Yeah.
What else do you get? Just getting the article up. This will be up by the time this is over. It says here you get a little box with Valentino Ranch sand. What does that mean? I think they mean collector's box. Oh, you get a cap as well, a MotoGP cap.
Okay.
So they're sort of taking a leaf out of Dirt Rally's book when they handed out the press copies with the tub of dirt. Did you ever see that?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, you get 2 signed posters, and you also get the obligatory season pass with apparently 6 major game expansions.
6?
6.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's more than Ride.
Ride was 2, wasn't it?
Was it 2?
I think
Yeah, they
so,
released the season pass for that, and they didn't really follow it through.
I think the season pass worked out about £1 cheaper or something than if you bought the stuff separately, so it wasn't so good, no.
Well, that's value for money for you. But yeah, for those that are interested, it's on Amazon UK right now for £100. If you have money to burn, there's the thing for you.
Have a look at that while we're in the podcast.
Oh, you
basically, so
you're going to pre-order it, aren't you?
So what that says then is that you effectively pay separately for the cost of each item in there. So it's not like it doesn't feel like a deal. It feels like you're actually paying for those items. But
yeah, so I'd be happy. I'd be happy with just a steelbook myself, but you can't do that.
Oh, they don't offer it separately, no?
No, it's all part of the collector's edition.
That's a shame.
Why have they done that? I mean, Monster, I don't think I've ever done a collector's edition or a special edition or whatever.
No, I don't remember one, no.
So this is the first one for them, which is interesting.
I actually can't find it on Amazon right now.
Can you not?
No.
No. If you just search for the main listing, there's like an option for regular and collectors.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? I mean, that's quite substantial. I mean, I see. Yeah, I've got it here now. It's a big yellow box, isn't it?
Interesting though, there is demand for it because it's sold out in pretty much every other Amazon that sells it.
Well, I mean, I was just going to say that. I mean, if you're a big fan of Valentino Rossi, then and they've got these special Valentino Rossi things, then you're going to want those things, And I suppose, if I was a big fan of something, and I was, I don't know, if I was a bit younger and I was a big fan of something, I might, throw my cash at it. I mean, I have paid £100. Have I paid £100? I paid £100 for a game, I think. Or was it £70, £80 maybe?
The most expensive game I ever bought was GTA 5, the not the collector's edition, but the special one, the game which came with a special case or something. That was about £60-70.
Yeah, I think it was £100. I might have paid for one game. I think I might have.
Really?
Yeah, but I can't remember exactly whether it's 100 or it's 70. I'm trying to remember, but it was the Japanese launch of Ridge Racer Type 4.
Okay.
A special Ridge Racer Type 4 T-shirt, and it came with a Jog-Con controller, which is a game controller which had a force feedback steering wheel in the middle of the controller. You steer with your thumbs.
Nice.
So it was the most. It was, yeah, not very good, to put it that way. But it was the most useless controller.
Try not to swear, Alan.
Yeah, I'm trying not to swear.
Temptation there, yeah.
Basically, it was bad. So I remember trying it out. I mean, I used to drive with an Edge-Con and everything. It was useless. The actual controller was the way forward. But yeah, so that was that. I mean, but it was worth it having a little, because it was a special. Because back then it was, I imported it from Japan, and I imported it from Japan. I mean, this is just.
That's pretty hard. That's proper hardcore, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I imported most of my games from Japan because I couldn't wait for them. They took too long and they ran faster. Back then we used to have, 50, 60 hertz games. So in Japan, all your games ran faster. So you'd import them, run them at full screen, full speed. I hated borders. That was something that was one of the biggest irritation to me ever.
Yeah, I remember Ridge Racer 5 had a problem.
Borders. Street Fighter 2 had the biggest borders in the world, and so I couldn't stand that. So yeah, I mean, Ridge Racer, awesome. But yeah, so Valentino Rossi, like I say, the fans will love it. Valentino's fans, like 90% of the people watching MotoGP are Valentino Rossi fans, and when you go to MotoGP, you see a sea of yellow of Valentino Rossi fans.
In that sense, it's quite a smart move to try and bring more people into it than just having a standard MotoGP game, if he has that kind of a following.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, really, just how big that following has become over the years. His battles with Max Biaggi and Sete Gubernau and all these different riders over the years, and it's been great to see. And I think with the added antagonism of Marc Marquez and the clashes they had last year, it's interesting. So yeah, I'd say Kevin will work his way through the game. Let's see how that turns out. So what else is there, guys, that's caught your eye on the website this week?
We've got the new Forza online competition, which is quite an interesting move from Turn 10 because it's basically their answer to GT Sport.
Yeah, and they didn't waste time about it either, did they? It was pretty quick. So
That's
we don't know
okay.
a lot about it. It's called the Forza Racing Championship, which is
Yeah, I think more will be with the older E3. I imagine there's like a special Forza event, so I imagine that'll be part of it. So we don't know a lot about it just yet, but
yeah, they're saying it's going to be quite accessible. So I imagine there'll be different tiers of skill
yeah,
levels just to sort of keep things fair.
yeah.
But
The whole esport thing does seem to be getting a lot bigger, doesn't it, in the racing
yeah, we
genre?
had it in
It's
WRC5.
definitely a recurring theme
Yeah, definitely. I
Well,
at the
think
esport
moment.
will. I mean, esports try. I mean, esports trying to grow, isn't it? But I mean, it's really an early stage. It's a real mess at the moment. Nobody really knows how to do it properly, and it needs to evolve. And I think they also need to they need to make it so that there's tiers of people to get into it, because you're always going to have the alien guys who are like the top 100 in the world. We're never going to beat them, you know.
no.
So they need prizes for people further down the ladder, so that rather than just having 1% of players who play the game. I mean, if I play Forza Motorsport, I'm top 1%, easy every time. Do a few laps, top 1%. So if you're outside that top 1%, you've just got no chance. So they've got to make something that appeals to people and can get everyone involved all the way along. And I think that's where, making gaming and gearing it towards esports is gearing it towards, a relatively small part of the overall populace who buy that game. Remember, most people who buy Forza Motorsport or Gran Turismo will almost never complete a clean lap. They
Yeah.
just never ever will. And they'll drive from outside the car, they won't know the racing line, they'll be weaving around, and that's how they play all the time. They get home from the pub, they've had a few drinks, they whack on Forza, they bash into their mates, they fly off in the corner, they go, way, and then they turn it off and put something else on. That's the extent of how a lot of people play games.
Yeah,
So,
it's quite rare to find dedicated players for it unless it's iRacing or something like that.
yeah, well, iRacing exactly. I mean, iRacing's already in place. It shows how it can and should be done. So iRacing wasn't perfect. I mean, I had a video where I was racing along and someone just took me out, and then it done me really badly. I mean, it just smashed my ranking at the time, and I thought, you know what? It's not even fun to me. I just wasn't fun to me to iRacing. It was because
It's a very
if
serious
something happened that
racing
I
game.
perceived was fair, then it just turned me off straight away. I'm like, do you know what? Not fair. Not going to bother in a way, because I don't get enjoyment from the pressure. Because when you play iRacing, there's a lot of stress in the
Yeah,
race. You
yeah,
feel
yeah.
tension on the
And
grid.
you feel that even before you take part in the race.
Yeah, exactly. It's very stressful. And when something happens that really buggers you and means you have to spend another year in a car that you hate or a series you don't like, that's quite frustrating. So yeah, especially when you're paying for it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
uh, I think it's interesting. We'll wait and see how all of that evolves. But esports is here. Everybody's pushing it right now.
Mm.
Let's wait and see how it evolves.
Hmm. So I guess to wrap up, I mean, last week we obviously had quite a lengthy discussion about the new Top Gear. So there's been another episode since then. Did any of you guys watch it?
I actually missed it this week. I'm going to
Oh,
watch it.
did you?
So I'm one of the 2 million people who wasn't watching it this week.
Oh dear.
Because they dropped from 4.8 million to 2.8 million viewers. I
Wow.
mean, I've heard that it's a much better episode this week. Lots of people saying it was much better. Still got shouty Chris Evans shouting, and in fact, if it didn't have him shouting all the time and a little bit more
Hmm.
relaxedness here and there, it'd be
The
very
thing is,
good.
he made a joke about that as well. Like the very opening line was, "I get more shouty." It's like, oh
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, that's right.
don't
Yeah.
do that.
I mean, I don't know if it
yeah,
was any better than the first episode. It might be a case of people just sort of coming around to the idea of the new presenters. This is what we've
Maybe.
got. It's going to be similar again. I thought the episode was okay, just like the first one. I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
I particularly enjoyed the first segment with the McLaren 675 and
I thought
Jensen
that was
Button as
a
well.
pretty good review, to be honest. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's interesting to see the response there because lots of people are now saying Jensen Button should be the host after watching that.
was it a good
Right,
segment, by the
interesting.
way?
Yeah, I really liked it. It had a lot of comparisons and quite a lot of again, it was very similar to a review you see in the old Top Gear, but it was just generally fun to watch and quite informative. So there's potential for those segments. It's just really the studio bits that fall flat, and also for me the challenges at the moment because they haven't got that chemistry yet.
Yeah, they've done this SUV road test, didn't
I
they,
nearly
with
fell asleep
celebrities?
during that.
I thought the first part of that was okay, but then the second part when they
The
had like the
crowd.
animals
Yeah, it just dragged a bit.
Reversing up to get a close up of the animals. I sort of switched off a bit then.
And in all honesty, what was Eddie Jordan doing there? He added nothing to that episode.
I think he just went out to wreck that car.
Oh dear.
But the rally section was okay, I thought, at the end of the road test thing. But like you said, with the guests, I mean, there was 4 guests this time.
Way too crazy.
2 went around the track, and it just dragged on far too long.
And this is the problem. They had Damian Lewis on it, who, big star. I want to hear more of him, but
the
rest of them just kind of took over.
Yeah,
they need to put the focus back on just one guest, I think.
They need to cut the guest section in half and stick it back in, and it'll be a much better show.
Yeah.
And also, what I'd like to see, it seems to be a very silly show now. Like, the majority of the program is these sort of silly stuff. I'd like to see it go a little bit more serious, because I think it's a bit too much silliness in it. I think need to tone it down a bit, tone down the shouting, like you said earlier, and.
I guess the problem is just doing what they think.
A little bit less shouty, a little bit more about the cars. I mean, I think if you just get back to the car news and the car stuff, and then I think relax a bit. Jeremy Clarkson did a video with a cardboard box this week. Did anyone see? We should cover it on the site. Did anyone actually see that?
Yeah, I saw it just yesterday. Yeah, it's like 3 minutes long. It's had, I think, over 1 million views already.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But I think it shows, not that it's a great video as such, it's just fun stupidness, but it's just the hardcore fan base is so hardcore. It's amazing, really, because Jeremy's been around for years, and people, well, not like now. Suddenly he's got this, they have got this super hardcore fan base since since the US trip we talked about last week. But no, I'm going to watch it on iPlayer, catch up on that, and see, just try and keep up with it, and it'll be interesting to see how it develops. I think they're going to need time, and maybe it will keep the audience, maybe it won't. I'm sure it will change, but if they can find some chemistry somewhere, maybe Chris Evans isn't the man to present it.
No, it wouldn't surprise me if he's dropped next series, or it depends what he's contracted for.
His contract is going to be pretty watertight, I should imagine, because anyone who took on that job was going to get a hard time.
Yeah.
So
I think whoever filled that role was always going to get some sort of abuse because they're not Clarkson.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's right. So,
I don't know. Does Chris Evans have that much of a fan base? I don't really know, but most people I've asked already didn't like him.
I think he had a fan base in 1998.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, it was back then when.
Yeah, I mean, and when he was on the Big Breakfast or something,
Yeah.
But he didn't seem to shout so much or try so hard in that way. I mean, it was just and it was a crazy show with crazy camera work. It suited that style. I mean, Top Gear's a slightly different thing. So.
Yeah, it's quite a polarizing personality. I think that's probably why they chose him.
Yeah.
Like Clarkson has. But there's a bit less Matt LeBlanc actually in the last episode. He didn't have any films to himself, so we didn't really see him shine, I thought.
Yeah, I don't mind Matt LeBlanc actually.
He's fine. It's just
he's more entertaining than Chris Evans, and he's got that sort of sarcasm as well, which I like. Yeah. And he's looks like he knows what he's doing behind the wheel as well. So
I think the only real problem with Matt LeBlanc is, first and foremost, he's an actor, not a presenter, and that really shows in the studio segments. I mean, I guess it's time for him to improve, but he does do better. The studio does
seem a little bit weak, but like you say, in front of the camera with the segments, he's a lot better.
He's the best they've got in the actual films.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't know why they had Eddie Jordan. He literally added nothing to that episode for me.
Really, that's a shame. That's a shame. I mean, Eddie Jordan, he knows how to drive. I mean, he was a driver himself years ago and broke both his legs in a car accident.
Yeah.
And that was the end of his. In fact, most people crash. Bernie Ecclestone started racing, and he ended up like having a big crash somewhere and saying, well, that's it, I'm not racing cars anymore. That's for idiots. And I just did a business. So, lots of people in it have done their racing stuff over the years, but no, let's see how it evolves.
You get the sense they're not really utilising their presenters enough. I mean, with Eddie Jordan, they're not really using his racing talent. Chris Harris still hasn't been in it in the main show.
I'd like to see the airtime sort of more split evenly between.
Yeah,
You
apparently they get.
advertise it as lots of presenters, but they're not, like you say, they're not utilising them. So
Well, apparently Rory and Chris are going to be in episode 3. I think what this series is about is if you took the new presenters and you put them at episode 1, all of them, they could have found it pretty soul destroying. I think with the feedback, yeah, it's tough. They'll be receiving abuse on Twitter all the time from lunatics, and you know, if they could separate them, put them in a little show, people pat them on the back and say that's pretty good, and then gradually they have a little help coming into the main show. It's not so bad. It's a bit more of a cushion for them. Then, you know, it kind of helps. So I can see why they've taken that approach. But yeah, let's wait and see. So busy week next week. You know, to finish off, I guess it's a busy week next week. We've got another episode of Top Gear we can moan about then. Lots of stuff at E3, which we're going to talk about. And, of course, a look at Valentino Rossi. And who knows what new announcements there's going to be as well. So I think that's pretty much all of it, Martin. Next week, I'll hand it over to you to finish off.
Yeah, that's it, I suppose. Thank you very much for everyone for listening, and thanks also for all your comments from last week. We really appreciated it. Obviously, it's a new thing for us. But, yeah, that's it from us then. And we'll see you again next week.
Okay, guys, more soon. Bye-bye.